Tiếng Anh cao cấp.
According to data from the British Council, there are no more than 1.5 billion English speakers, while 54 countries use English as their official language. In the context of globalization, knowledge of English is a must in order to become a global citizen. However, many Vietnamese people struggle to learn English.
It's very hard to compensate to make myself understood.
Pronunciations, new words, vocabularies to organize the ideas.
Hello and welcome to Talk Vietnam. As you can see in the video, many Vietnamese people struggle to use the language English comfortably. This is quite a dilemma as Vietnam is at an important phase with many FTAs coming its way. How do we deal with this? Our guests Paul Gruber, Hoa Anh Việt and Vasant Goblin might just give you the answer you're looking for.
It's just these small, simple changes. But when you put them into your connected speech, you will not believe the huge impact it will have on your English, the way you sound, and how easily people will understand you.
You only get tired if your reason is not big enough for you.
We strongly believe that ICT really helps our students to learn better.
Thank you very much, guys, for joining our show today.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Great. So, let me start with you first. You are Viet. You are a lecturer at the University of Languages and International Studies. You're an English lecturer, right?
Yes.
So, can you please share with us the most common problems associated with Vietnamese students of the language English?
Well, actually, the Vietnamese learners have many difficulties, and to begin with, in the Vietnamese and English is very different. But however, the Vietnamese learners, tend to use Vietnamese to interfere with English, and that's what we call mother tongue interference. Take pronunciation as an example. I have a sentence like this: I want to go to Hanoi tomorrow. And a lot of my students tend to say, I want to go to Hanoi tomorrow. And that is the Vietnamese way of speaking. And additionally, we are living in the environment where English is not widely spoken. All right? Because English is a foreign language. So that is why Vietnamese learners are not exposed to everyday English. And they do not have enough opportunities to improve the knowledge and the skills of English.
Great. So on that note, we have pronunciation. And you, Paul, are a speech-language pathologist. So you've worked with a lot of ESL students. Can you please share from your own knowledge, what are the problems with ESL students?
Well, the problems is, students work very hard on learning grammar, English vocabulary, syntax, word order. They go to school. I know in Vietnam they go to school for so many years to learn English. The problem that I understand from most Vietnamese is that they can have years of English education, but if you try to put them in front of an English speaker, native English speaker like myself, we're unable to speak and have a functional conversation with them. That's the problem. Or if they've gotten to the point of speaking English, very often an English listener is unable to understand the words that are being said because the language of Vietnamese, the sound system, the vowels, the consonants are so different from the English language. And as you mentioned, they use the rules of their mother tongue on English, and it makes it unintelligible to an English listener. So those are some of the problems. In the Vietnamese language, along with Chinese, Korean, Spanish, a lot of other languages, your vowel system, the vowels are very pure, like e, a, o, very simple. Now, in English, some of our vowels are like that. Some of our vowels, like sit, hit, they're very short. But many of the English vowels are two parts, up, down, a, e, I, oh. And what that does is when you put these vowel sounds in connected speech, it slows down the word. You know, Vietnamese speakers, when they're speaking English, that's the rhythm. That's what an English listener hears. But when an English speaker speaks English, it's very musical. It's da-da-da-da-da. How are you today? It's very legato. It's very connected. It's very musical.
All right, so you are a neuro-linguistic programming expert who has worked with Vietnamese people for over the past 4 years.
That's right.
Right? Okay, so can you sort of share your own knowledge about the problems that you've encountered the most commonly?
It's like learning a skill. English is a skill. To someone who's not grown with it, it's a new skill. Maybe a little bit of difficulty there for normal people because of the wiring. The Vietnamese language wiring is different from, like you said, the English wiring and Indian wiring or whatever. So we're all hardwired to speak in a certain way, right? And so that is the chore that becomes difficult. Learning something new becomes difficult. So the thing is this. Why is there a need for you to learn something new? That is what motivation is all about. If someone says, you've got to learn English, why am I learning English for? Where am I going to use this? Who am I going to impress? How am I going to benefit from it? If these questions are not answered, it's a waste of time. Nobody's going to learn it. If you don't have a reason to learn it, nothing happens. It becomes a chore. If you have a dire need to learn it, and you really know what you're going to use it tomorrow for, pick it up anyhow. Yeah, that's my view.
My language is not like the native speakers, so it's very hard to compensate to make myself understood.
I usually get difficulties in improving my communication skills because my learning environment lack of native speakers. I have no chance to meet them, and therefore my intonation or my pronunciation still poor. In order to improve my English, I have to study lots of new words, vocabularies, and I have to say it's not an easy thing to do.
Vietnamese is quite different from English, so when I practice and brainstorm my idea in English and speak in Vietnamese and then speak in English, there will be a lot of grammatical or word using mistakes.
So what you've just seen in the clip is that one of the greatest challenges that Vietnamese people confront at the moment is the lack of knowledge and skills. Let's see what Viet thinks about this.
Yeah, they right to say that. But remember, it's not just the lack of English knowledge, but also the lack of knowledge of other aspects as well. Even when you have a good knowledge of English and you don't know about the topic, so how can you express your feelings, your opinions? All right, so, and remember, knowledge is one thing, but how we can express the knowledge in written and spoken language is another thing, and that's what we call skills. So knowledge and skills, they always go together.
How about you, Paul? You mentioned something about function before. Do you share the same belief with Viet, or do you have something else to add?
Well, when it comes to function, I agree with what Vas was saying. You need to know why you're doing this. So many of your students are going through all the years of school learning English. They do it. They have a book. They have the homework, and they do this. But they don't understand. It didn't click with them that if they master this, if they master English, how their life can change. So they have to keep in mind, you know, if that's a bottle, I'm a baby, and I want to get that bottle, the baby doesn't have a way to communicate, and the mother's busy washing dishes. So the baby is forced to come up with things out of the mouth, and that's language acquisition. That's how the baby learns. More, give me. That's what they do, because there's such a motivator. The baby is hungry, thirsty, wants the food, and eventually learns to use words to complete that action. And that's the trick with English.
The purpose of learning languages is to communicate with people. Speech-language pathologist Paul Gruber claims pronunciation is a key part of learning English.
And this is clear. I also want you to realize that the same R in rate is the same R at the end of clear.
Visiting Vietnam for the first time, the renowned speech expert conducted several training events.
No. No, no, no. No, no, no. I know. You know. You know. You know and I know. You hear that difference? You hear that? Really good job. Okay, good job, good job.
Xưa thì từ thank you, em đọc em chỉ đọc là thank you thôi, nhưng bây giờ em thank you là hoàn toàn khác ạ.
Cái ấn tượng hôm nay là thầy đã chỉ rõ cho em từ dream là ước mơ ấy ạ. Thầy có chỉ rõ là người Việt Nam thường đọc là dream, nhưng nếu phải đọc chuẩn là đọc từ G ấy, dream.
We listen for the sounds that are non-English, and we reshape those sounds slowly. We reshape them over a couple of months, and people are amazed because you make these very small changes in their speech, and all of a sudden they speak completely different, and they're very easy to be understood by an English speaker.
Em cảm thấy rất tự tin hơn trong giao tiếp, và thầy đã truyền lại cho em sự yêu thích học tiếng Anh hơn.
Each learner has their own way of studying. However, Paul's method of pronouncing clearly and correctly is to get the speakers easily understood.
1, 2, 3, go!
How about showing us your real magic? Got something for you here.
Okay.
All right. So basically, what we want you to do, you said that, we could all learn English the same way, through using function.
Mm-hmm.
Can you demonstrate that?
Sure. This is what I do. I work with clients all over the world. And I don't have an evaluation form or anything like that. I just give them something and I go, so show me what you have.
Yeah, I got a dictionary.
Say it again.
Dictionary.
It's the whole thing. I got
a dictionary.
And what do you use it for?
I use it for learning vocabulary.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And when was the last time you used it?
The last time? Oh, it's about a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening to all the sounds you're making. You're a very good English speaker. I have to say, you're very, very good. I'm listening to your L's, your R's, your I sounds. Just do this with me. This is your what? Say it. What is this? This is my
I.
Yeah, now this is you. You're saying my ah. Now to most English speakers, we don't say I. We say I. You hear the little y at the end. I. Why?
Why?
Shy.
Shy.
My tie.
My tie.
You hear that I?
Yeah.
Now, you were saying like the last time I used this. It's not last time. Before you get to the M, there's a Y. So listen. The last time I used it, go.
The last time.
There you go. Okay, dictionary ends with a Y. Here's another little trick. All words in English, this is a good trick. All words in English that end in a Y are a high E. So repeat this for me. Say he.
He.
And she.
And she.
And me.
And me.
We.
We.
Good. So that's the high E sound. So every word you see in English that has a Y at the end is that same thing. So listen. Dictionary.
Dictionary.
Right. You normally come down on that Y. You say, it's a dictionary. Dictionary.
Yeah.
And it's not clear to an English listener. It's a dictionary.
It's a dictionary.
And the words like quickly,
Quickly.
suddenly.
Suddenly.
Yeah, suddenly.
Suddenly.
Suddenly, I have a dictionary.
Suddenly, I have a dictionary.
Excellent. Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Jokes aside, I want to know a bit more about your method. You mentioned how you use music. You incorporate music into your method. Can you tell us more about it?
Well, I have a music background, play the piano. I wanted to be a superstar in the music business. I ended up going into a new direction. But so I have a music background, and then I went back to school for speech-language pathology. I worked in hospitals. I've worked with people who've had cancer and stroke and difficulty speaking for years before I started Pronunciation Workshop. I created my own method with no evaluation and no phonetics, and it's more like a look, listen, and learn approach. And I use my musical training, the musical sound, and how I learned to play the piano and how I learned music into the speech and into the speech component of language. It's a lot of ear training, and it's showing the ESL learner and speaker, it's showing them what they're doing in comparison to what they should be doing when they're speaking English. And when they start hearing those very subtle differences, and their ear picks it up, and they're speaking, and they're having a conversation, and they say to themselves, oops, I said that wrong. I should have said it this other way. And that happens over and over again. What happens is, without them thinking about it, they begin to speak clearer English, more correct English, and their confidence level in English goes way up.
Taking example from the movie My Fair Lady, Paul showed how music can surprisingly help learners with their pronunciation.
It's like a melody. It's like music. The style of the language, Vietnamese, Korean, Chinese, a lot of these Asian languages, the style is very tonal. So it's teaching not only the sounds of the language, but it's also the music of the language. How are you today? It's so good to see you. There's a certain style.
Row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merry, 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 merry. Life is but a dream. Tigers, join them. Row, row, row your boat.
Nhiều lúc mình sợ học tiếng Anh luôn đấy. Nhưng mà từ khi mình tiếp xúc với những cái phương pháp của thầy, đặc biệt là những cái phương pháp mới ấy, nó làm cho em có thêm nhiều cảm hứng.
1, 2, 3, go!
Using music in teaching English proves its effectiveness. It also makes English more interesting.
As you've seen in the video, the students were practicing every vowel, every consonant, like the babies mimicking their parents' sounds. So, is it the problem of the mindset? Let's discover this with Vas. Hi Vas, can you sort of tell us, is it about the mindset, or what is it all about?
Mindset is a perfect word, but I would suggest we use the word purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke about that earlier when I spoke about the motivation to learn. Motivation comes from purpose. And so now, how do you activate that in someone? You can just use words, but it's not going to work. You're going to work with the unconscious of the person. Now, when you learn something consciously, what happens? I give you an analogy, basketball, okay? Basketball and learning. Because English is a skill, just like basketball. To me, that's how it is. Now, there was a research done, Group A, Group B, Group C. They took a whole cohort of basketball players of all the same standard. They divided them into A, B, and C and gave them a task. In 1 month, you're allowed to play basketball for an hour per day, 30 days, an hour per day. Group A was told, don't play basketball. Just stop playing basketball. Group B was told, go throw free throws, 1 hour per day. And Group C was told, just do it in the mind. No physical basketball, no going to the court, just do it in the mind. They were taught how to do that. And the result was, Group A, obviously because of lack of practice, they dropped in their standard. Group B improved by 20%. And Group C, although they did not practice at all physically, their percentage went up to 30%.
Interesting.
So what happened? So that's what it's all about. NLP allows us to shorten the learning curve. You know, to do something that you normally would take a long time. Same like Group C. What we need to do is to train their minds to be able to visualize the language, whatever it is, the interaction with a client, over and over again in the mind. And the mind does not discriminate whether you're doing it physically or mentally. And that is how NLP helps to speed up learning.
Neuro, receiving information via the five senses. Linguistic, using language to give meaning at a subconscious level. Programming, organizing ideas and actions. Neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, is a language learning method that teaches students to train their brains and motivates them to improve their behavior. Vasant Goplan is an NLP master trainer with an NLP consultancy and trainer certification. While spending time in Vietnam, he saw that many Vietnamese students struggle with English and decided to use the NLP method to help them improve. With NLP, motivation is key. Each learner should have a clear reason to study English, even if it is simple.
Tại vì là em rất thích nghe nhạc tiếng Anh, nên là em muốn là học tiếng Anh được, xong em có thể hát được nhạc tiếng Anh, hoặc là có thỉnh thoảng mà có em có thể nói chuyện được, giao tiếp được với người nước ngoài, đơn giản vậy thôi ạ.
Em học tiếng Anh để giao tiếp với người nước ngoài ạ, và có thể không cần xem phụ đề mà mình vẫn có thể hiểu được là người nước ngoài họ nói gì.
Most Vietnamese students are better at grammar than other language skills. Many of them are very shy when speaking English. Mr. Vass used the NLP method to change their mindset. After learning with the new method, these students speak confidently, imbuing each word not just with its sound but also its meaning.
Đây là một cách học trước của em, là em học là em chỉ viết nó ra beautiful and beautiful, đó là xinh đẹp ấy. Và nhưng bây giờ khi thầy phát dạy em sẽ miêu tả nó ra bằng tất cả những giác quan của mình, bằng cơ thể của mình, và beautiful, đó nó sẽ cực kỳ hữu hiệu hơn là nhờ mình học một cách rất là trầm lặng và nó sẽ không có chút hiệu quả nào.
NLP is not just a method to help people learn English. It can also be applied in many other areas. Most importantly, it triggers a change in attitude. According to supporters of the method, NLP generates a positive outlook, which makes a good foundation for a happy life. And luckily, it is self-created. The discipline to learn via NLP comes from each individual's will.
We can communicate. Not only in Vietnamese. But also in English.
So the problem we have now is some Vietnamese learners of English, once they have reached a certain level, they tend not to be able to advance further. What do you think is the reason behind this, and how would you suggest to fix it?
Just in life, goals, visions, we all have different levels. You're a young man, and when you start out setting goals, for example, if you are sitting in the same goal-setting room with Paul, he normally would set higher goals, and you would say, "No, I'm too young for that. I don't think I can." So you would set goals that you would be able to stomach, you would be able to deal with, so-called realistic goals. But that realism, when you achieve it, you get bored. Once you achieve a goal, you get bored. What else is there? Next level. Somebody needs to guide you thereafter to set a higher goal, to smash through that glass ceiling. We all have that glass ceiling. And so we all have these limitations. So all we need to do is to come off, set new goals right now, and then, and visualize it.
Paul, do you think that his method has got some sort of connection with your method related to how you know, it's all about not fearing making mistakes. It's all about not being afraid of being wrong.
So when I teach, my method includes a lot of movement. It's not just the mouth. It's body movements. It's moving hands, moving up, you know, and it's pulling NLP into this, and because it's all one. It's not just, we're not just a mouth here speaking English. It's a whole body. And when you want to learn new movements and patterns of your mouth and lips, tongue, jaw, vocal cords, everything, you want to get your whole body into it because you learn it faster, and the movements and it's all coordination. It's like swinging a golf club. That's what learning correct pronunciation and good English is. It's all the coordination of our articulators. So it's using our body and learning these patterns.
Visible and physical.
That's absolutely right.
Yes, very important terms.
Is the problem of, you know, being able to speak English fluently does it only apply to adults over the age of 15, or do you think is it easier for young people to learn English?
You know, when you know nothing, everything's easy. But when you know something, you're so sure of yourself, you're already hardwired, it's difficult to change. So for a kid, 2 years old, 3 years old, teach them English, if they know nothing else, it's so easy to teach them. They just pick it up like drinking water, like a sponge. You know, 0 to 7 years old is when we are in our formative years, according to Maurice Massey in his research, sociologist. We are sponges. And so we take everything in. We model. We just absorb. But after that, our conscious mind is more developed. And so there's a critical factor. They choose. I want to do this. I don't want to do that. This is easy. That is difficult. So when the critical factor is developed, it becomes a chore for the person to learn.
I'd like to go deeper into environment. So what do you think is a kind of healthy environment that you should provide the learners of English to help them improve and develop the English better? Can you share with us?
Well, I know, I know there's a very big push by the government. From what I heard, I think they want to train about 80,000 teachers to teach English because there's such a push in this country for English. But I feel the approach is not the best, because when you look at the results, you have so many people who are book smart and academic smart in English who could pass an exam, who can get a certain score on an exam so they can get into college, but have them try to speak to an English listener and a conversation, it's not going anyplace. So I think the approach needs to change, and the teaching needs to be more functional, less academic, classrooms that are interactive and using English in a functional way and in more of a natural way of how we all learn language. And I think that's what's missing here in Vietnam.
Nowadays, advancements in science and technology allow teachers of English to provide lessons through various channels. Mobile apps are one of the most popular and convenient information and communication technologies, or ICTs, for teaching and learning English.
Ngoại ngữ chuyên ngành.com